Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of राहुल को समझ नहीं आता। आज एक बड़े मजेदार गेस्ट आए हैं हमारे इस पॉडकास्ट में। उनका नाम है सिद्धार्थ पाल।
Sneakers connect every category.
स्नीकर कल्चर कह लो या फिर fitness brands. He worked with Adidas for a long time.
You would find all the cool creative people wearing the coolest sneakers.
Yeah, he was working with Under Armour as the head of India marketing.
We did a little dipstick. Rock has the maximum following in India on his Instagram.
उन्होंने अपना एक street and sneaker festival launch करा, इंडिया का पहला. It's called Soledition, and we had a fantastic conversation about sneaker culture in India.
Originals was a big thing, back in the day.
Welcome, Siddharth. Thanks a lot for joining us on this episode. Siddharth, brother, thanks a lot for joining me on राहुल को समझ नहीं आता. I'm super excited to have you. I think कुछ 8-9 साल हो गए हमारी दोस्ती को.
Correct.
I met Siddharth while he was at Adidas, and हम लोग Adidas Originals को partnership के लिए लेकर आए थे for Sunburn.
Correct.
Back in I think 2013 या 14 की बात.
2013.
13, correct.
That was the
So yeah, since then I've known him, and he's changed many roles. That time he was heading marketing for Adidas, then he moved to Under Armour recently.
Correct.
And one of the most coolest things, he started India's first sneaker and street festival. It's called Soledition.
Correct.
तो वहां से शुरू करते हैं bro. Soledition के बारे में बताओ, कैसे आइडिया आया? Of course you were in the industry, but how did you think about this?
Yeah, so back in the day, obviously been 5.5 years with ID, and then I realized कि यार I'm really in love with the whole sneaker space, and I realized कि यार the passion grew during my early stages in advertising, because we used to work with a lot of different brands, and I thought sneaker is something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And there was this one line that got stuck with me, is what you stand on is what you stand for.
Nice.
And that got really stuck with me. And
और ये कहाँ से आई थी ये line?
Yeah, I read this line somewhere. I don't know who by who, but
अच्छी है.
But yeah, it just got stuck with me, and from there on, Adidas obviously inspired the whole sneaker space.
Yeah.
And Originals was a big thing, back in the day.
Of course.
Started with Run DMC, and my passion started that, while working, I thought that there is this gap that exists for the subculture to grow, and sneakers connect every category.
Yeah.
You would find all the cool creative people wearing the coolest sneakers.
Yeah.
And I thought this is the space that I want to explore, and that too कि थोड़ा सा कीड़ा था कि यार कुछ करना है.
हाँ.
And कर लिया 10 साल काम, and I thought let's start this, and I spoke to my wife Neha, and then she said okay, I'll support you, and she's been the biggest support, and then she said let's start this together. I quit in 2017, and I thought let's start this, though there were a lot of challenges here.
Of course,
it's not easy to set up a IP or set up an event space that's completely new. And that too, I didn't have that kind of background. So I spoke to you, I spoke to a lot of other people, how to go about it. And through everybody's guidance, we finally did it in 2018.
Yeah.
And from there on, I realized that this is where I want to be. I want to be in the sports/sneaker space.
Nice.
And yeah, correct.
हमारी जिंदगियां सब में उथल पुथल, मतलब it all went sideways, right?
Correct.
तो प्लान आपका भी तब I think वही था कि Soul Edition का next festival लेकर आओगे.
So obviously COVID आया, there was some financial thing, and I realized that back in 2018 I realized कि maybe I do a corporate job again and get into the space till the time I think of what I want to do. And Under Armour opportunity kicked in, and it was a international brand entering into the country. So I thought कि यार ये opportunity नहीं miss कर सकता मैं. As head of marketing, maybe I launched this brand, and obviously at the background of mind I always had Soul Edition.
Yeah.
कि वो करना है. And COVID came about. Then I quit Under Armour, and I decided कि let's follow my passion.
But कैसा रहा Under Armour का experience? बताओ थोड़ा. Heading and launching the brand actually in India must have been a huge responsibility also, ना?
Yeah.
Against like terrifying competition, I would say, in India. Huh?
Absolutely, yeah. All of these brands. So Adidas came into India in the end of 90s. Asics, Nike, Puma followed in the early 2004 to 2005 space.
Yeah.
So imagine an Under Armour brand who's very significant in the US, but entering 20 years later in India. So that was the hardest challenge, was how do you compete with these brands?
Correct.
So एक ही motivation थी कि that we need to make sure that the positioning of the brand, and nowadays people really don't talk about positioning and strategy. Everything is focused on कि business कितना होना चाहिए, number होना चाहिए, but the idea was कि how do you position a brand which is a solid performance brand into that space. So मेरा ये था कि यार I don't want to talk about street style, athleisure. I want to really talk about कि ये एक performance brand.
Performance, correct.
And this is generally made for people who go to the gym or people who work out.
Yeah.
And Rock being their face.
Of course.
I thought and it turned out to be, we did a little dipstick ki Rock has the maximum following in India on his Instagram.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So we realized कि यार Rock को position करेंगे in a way that he's a truly one, he's obviously a health freak, but he was the ambassador of Under Armour, and we thought, how do we now
juice him?
Exactly. And how do we get another guy, a combination of Rock? So we couldn't get Rock to India, obviously that's a big dream, but we got Michael Phelps, who's the most celebrated Olympian around all time. He's the biggest athlete you'll ever know, right?
Correct.
And we thought of him coming to India, and that was the biggest thing because people saw us as a very serious performance brand.
Right.
And I think that challenge was accepted by us, and industry and consumers got to know that, okay, Adidas and Nike hai, but here's this brand who's just talking about performance. I think that narrative changed the way how people perceived Under Armour in India.
Yeah.
And that was a good boost for us. We did a massive event with Michael Phelps. We did a massive PR. We got some of the best influencers in terms of training and health to participate, do like a small one-on-one thing with Michael Phelps. So all of that paved the way to what Under Armour is now in India.
Correct.
And amazing experience here. We are an underdog brand in India still, and how we position, we signed. So just to give an example, like we signed the ice hockey women's team.
For India?
For India.
Nice.
अब इंडिया में आइस हॉकी टीम ही पहले लोगों को पता नहीं,
मुझे नहीं पता अभी तक.
Exactly, there is a women's ice hockey team.
Wow, that's amazing, yeah.
And they train on frozen lakes in Ladakh. जब लद्दाख में lakes freeze हो जाती हैं, तब वो train करते हैं वहाँ पे.
Oh wow.
Their story is inspirational.
Infra तो है ही नहीं ना.
नहीं है infrastructure.
Infra ही नहीं है.
And now a lot of brands have collaborated with them trying to build that infrastructure. But when in 2018 I spoke to them, and these girls and these women have come from amazing backgrounds. कोई doctor है, कोई teacher है, but this is their passion that they want to do ice hockey.
Wow, that's amazing.
And we signed them. We built a nice narrative, a story with them, and we wanted to promote that story. This is what they do, yeah. And yes, somebody in the US picked it up. So an ice hockey, the women's US ice hockey picked this up campaign, and Twitter pe it got trending.
Wow.
So that was a big moment for us, that you know, that one, we could support them in a way.
Correct.
And you know, because I believe that there are amazing sports stories, and that was the idea of Under Armour, that how do you build these stories who other brands really don't talk about, how we can support these stories and these athletes. We later on signed Ritu Fogart, and then obviously Neeraj Chopra is now with Under Armour. But that was the idea. And it was amazing. 2.5 3 years with Under Armour. The brand is now bigger. Whenever they've got more than 40 stores.
Correct.
But yeah, the sweet spot was that, you know, you've launched a brand in India which is now doing really well. So
and I think it's a good insight also, because you were working with Adidas, तो वहाँ पे काफी सारा market insight आपको already पता था.
Correct.
So you got a great insight about the customer also, the market, the dealership network and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And the crux is, what has happened, or there is this whole health wave that has come into existence, because we as Indians have realized that न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यू इतनी नहीं है हमारे खाने, सो वी नीड टू वर्क मोर हार्डर.
बहुत जरूरी है यार हमारे खाने में, मतलब सिर्फ कार्ब्स मिलते हैं.
करेक्ट.
कार्ब लोडिंग पहले काम आती थी, क्योंकि तब लोग खेतों में काम करते थे. आज हम डेस्क के पीछे बैठे होते हैं कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन पे, और वो कार्ब्स हमारे किसी काम के नहीं है, वो सिर्फ फैट एक्यूमुलेशन होता है.
एब्सोल्युटली. सो इट वाज वेरी फॉर अस, अंडर आर्मर के लिए बहुत बड़ी एडवांटेज थी कि, and we were able to recognize the fact that people want to work out. People want good shoes, good apparel, so that they can work out in a very, very positive way in a gym. And people, I've seen a lot of people, and you too, spend a lot of time in the gym, right? Because you're working on each and every body part, and you're working it out so that you know कि यार, and people are more educated.
हाँ, मतलब साइंस समझने लगे हैं. सिर्फ ये नहीं है कि जिम जाने से, बट पीछे क्या जाता है, what's the science behind it?
Exactly. How much time do you need for recovery? How much time do you need for, and Under Armour made products which are for recovery.
Correct.
So which you can wear after your workout and sleep in those, so that your body can recover faster. So those are and imagine brands thinking about that, right?
Yeah,
recovery.
correct.
Nobody would have thought 10 years back that recovery is so important. And that's why athletes today, like all of these big athletes, LeBron James, Tiger Woods, all of these guys are stretching their limit to play to 40-year-old, 41-year-old. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo, right? All of this, like that recovery is important.
Very true. Very true.
So yeah, Under Armour was good. Yeah, I think 3 years were fantastic.
Yeah, good experience. तो now let's move to Soul Edition के बारे में कुछ बातें करते हैं because it's very interesting also in a way.
Correct.
Sneaker culture काफी interesting लगता है.
हाँ.
और साथ में ही मतलब जो एक street culture आता है.
Correct.
That's also very cool.
Correct.
और मुझे लगता है इंडिया में हिप हॉप का जो सीन है ना, वो भी अब काफी धीरे-धीरे बढ़ रहा है ना.
काफी.
दिल्ली और नॉर्थ के लौंडे भी निकल कर आ रहे हैं.
या बहुत ज्यादा यार.
मतलब जो मैं हरियाणवी म्यूजिक सुन रहा हूँ ना ब्रो आजकल, I am fascinated by the fact that they're picking up Raganis, which is our folk culture, and they've integrated into today's beats of hip hop and created such fantastic music, bro.
Yeah, I think talking about the hip hop culture, obviously Divine is at the forefront of what he's been doing. There are amazing people. Like look at Prabdeep.
Yeah, he's doing
Delhi
great.
boy.
Yeah.
He's doing really good.
Yes.
And there are a lot of guys who've come, who are just emerging into the scene because people have realized that I think we're very good with lyrics. I think and today's generation बच्चास have realized कि यार हम लिख सकते हैं. अच्छा.
और कहानी है ना भाई बताने के लिए.
बहुत कहानी है.
कहानियां बहुत हैं.
देखो हिंदुस्तान में हम यार मेरे को लगता है हम कहानी सुनाते आए हैं. And if you look at our history back in the day, right? I think we are storytellers.
Yeah.
And you would see that everywhere. You would see in the ads that we make.
Yeah.
We want to build an emotional connect. All the Cadbury ads that you see in the past, all of that. There is an emotional connect to us, and we are storytellers because we've come from generational of conversations, joint families, living together. Those conversations, भाई क्या होता था, कैसे होता था, all of that संस्कार, all of that upbringing, right? And all of that has given a lot of, how do I say, conversation starter हो जाता है कि भाई मेरे को पता मैं कहाँ से आया हूँ.
Correct.
And Delhi is like that. Delhi में you never know what your background is, but you can emerge like the biggest star, right?
बिल्कुल.
I mean, look at Virat Kohli for instance. He's from West Delhi, right?
Correct.
He's a Delhi boy, inside out, but he's emerged.
He's a global star now.
And such a good story of where he's come from and how he's built, right?
Yeah.
So I think and the scene with all subculture I realized is that, okay, there is some bit that comes from the West because the hip hop wave started in the West because of all the community that started it and how a lot of big stars emerged from that. Jay-Z, for example, the biggest one. Yeah. But how it got into India, the fact that there is so much history within ourselves. And there is this culture that exists, which is not at the forefront of it. Like look at skateboarding. There is this skater girls group who skate in sarees.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's cool. That's damn cool.
Girls Skate India करके उनका page Instagram.
I think we'll show a picture here also.
Yeah, there is they skate in sarees. The whole Dharavi project scene where people are b-boying, and I went there. We did something with Bira back in the day. Kids, 5-6-year-old kids doing b-boying.
Yeah.
So there is this scene that exists, and look at people and the whole graffiti scene. Right, we've seen that how the Start Foundation started, Hanif started, and all of. There's so many graffiti artists, and you see a lot of graffiti at the Lodi colony, all of that. There's such amazing talent that exists. It's just, I think, just giving them a platform, and that's where Soul Edition really stands out. That I'm not a brand. I want to represent as a platform. That I give each other equal opportunity to come on board and present their work at this festival. Be it a graffiti artist who's starting out, be it a skateboarder who wants to do things, be it a dancer. We're doing a massive dance battle where we're getting dancers, freestyle dancers to perform, and then they can be a part of a very cool sneaker brand. Same with hip hop artists, giving them a chance to perform at this bigger stage where you can see 6,000-7,000 people. So that's what I believe in, that rather than building a brand, and most of the things that we see when it comes to IPs, they're trying to build a brand. For me, I'm trying to build a platform. That this is a platform that we provide.
Nice.
We are not at the forefront of pushing our brand, but we will give you a platform, or we'll give you a space for you to showcase your talent. I think that's the idea. And Soledition itself, like, you know, we're just building this property called Soul for Souls.
Soul for Souls.
Yeah.
Nice.
So basically ttelling stories of people who've come from varied background. And SOUL and SOP. And that's the idea, that there are so many these artists who are not famous on Instagram. Let me put it that way.
Correct. They're still waiting, but they're talented.
Consumers generally see, and brands specifically, everybody see कि यार आज Instagram पे क्या following है और तुम कितने लोगों को जानते हो, all of that. But at the base, at the true crux of everything, it's the talent, right?
बिल्कुल.
Some people don't get or don't know how to promote themselves, but the talent is amazing. So my idea is, how do you build that talent? How do you reach that talent? Tell their stories, which people haven't heard, because they don't have a massive following on Instagram.
Correct.
Like आजकल जैसे कोई ये नहीं पूछता तुम्हारा फोन नंबर क्या है यार. Everybody asks you, अरे यार राहुल Instagram लिंक दे दो.
Correct.
I'll follow you.
It's become the new norm now.
So I thought maybe Soledition can be that platform.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful thought also, bro. और आपने IP की बात करी. I just want to say IP intellectual property होती है जो basically आप एक in a way you're trying to create a platform or a brand that is going to represent either a subculture or a community sect that is basically going to come together for that particular day or an event, be it online or on ground, है ना? और इसमें बहुत मेहनत जाती है, मतलब it's a nightmare for a lot of people, and बहुत ज़्यादा साल मतलब लगा के लोगों ने मेहनत करके बनाई है. So kudos to you for making that effort.
Thank you so
and
much.
giving the people a platform, क्योंकि टैलेंट भरा हुआ भाई देश के अंदर, उनके पास बस प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं है, आके फटे कहाँ पे वो.
करेक्ट.
तो वो बहुत सही है. और
एब्सोल्युटली यार. एंड मुझे ये लगता है कि अब आपने आईपी की बात करी यार, एज अ पर्सन, इफ यू आर पैशनेट अबाउट एंड यू आर बिल्डिंग एन आईपी, इट इज people at the forefront of it, obviously consumers see that as such a cool festival, right? But what goes behind it?
अरे भैया
मतलब दिन रात and pressure यार. Imagine, मतलब मैं I was telling somebody कि यार आपका sponsorship भी आगे, सब आ गई, but जब तक वो टिकट बिक रही है, वो टिकट बिकने के बाद भी, once the ticket is sold, you feel that people will come or not, and then once people are coming, then you feel, oh, is it okay कि, you know, the setup wise, is the music okay, are they enjoying,
curation बहुत बड़ा एक factor है,
and what's the feedback, because अब तुमने build कर लिया, सब कुछ सही हो गया, then you realize कि यार, and you know how the world that we live in today, right? It's very different. There will be haters, of course, and there will be the people who love you, and you need to cut across all the noise from the haters and listen to the. But there is always tension, right? Building an IP, and then हो गया, अच्छा हो गया, very good, and then people ask you, oh, you know, when do you want to do next?
हाँ, अब क्या next करना है?
Next क्या करना है? And then the pressure is even further. So
क्योंकि आपकी expectation अब ज़्यादा बढ़ गई.
Exactly, and consumers expect a lot from you. So मुझे तो लगता है कि यार, and not that, you know, an IP guy who's created, he's a star. Like when I was talking to somebody, I said, यार देखो, मूवी में एक एक्टर होता है जो बहुत बड़ा स्टार होता है, ब्रांड में प्रोडक्ट होता है, ठीक है, आप कोई सर्विस देते हो, हॉस्पिटैलिटी सर्विस देते हो, कुछ भी फिल्म बनाते हो, देयर इज द डायरेक्टर हु कम्स ऑन बोर्ड. यहाँ पर नोबडी नोज सिद्धार्थ पाल, ठीक है, पीपल नो सोलिडिशन. सो एंड आई एम नॉट अ स्टार कि मैं एक और सोलिडिशन करूंगा, आ जाऊंगा. इट इज द आर्टिस्ट, इट्स द ब्रांड्स, it's the space, it's how you curate it. There are so many factors involved in building an event, that and one has to match with other. Only then it will be successful. Otherwise, and it's the domino effect. कुछ गलत हुआ, फिर एक और चीज गलत होगी, फिर एक और चीज गलत होगी, फिर तुम्हें लगता है वो यार कुछ और कर सकते हैं.
Correct.
And it's live, right? I mean,
बहुत चीजें जाती हैं bro. मतलब like I was in this industry for about 7 to 8 years तक था मैं. तो पता है सबसे बड़ा स्ट्रगल क्या होता था bro, टिकट्स का, क्योंकि रेवेन्यू मॉडल क्या है, या तो टिकटिंग हो गई, F&B हो गया, स्पॉन्सर्स हो गए, मर्चेंडाइज हो गई, इसके अलावा कोई रेवेन्यू तो है नहीं. और टिकटिंग, इंडिया में टिकट्स खरीदना लोगों को ज्यादा पसंद नहीं है. हर बंदा ट्राई करता है फ्री में मिल जाए, जुगाड़ हो जाए, है ना. तो इवेंचुअली दैट इज द फर्स्ट एम. तो वहां से काफी सारा रेवेन्यू लॉस भी होता है. दूसरा हो गया F&B. लोग बाहर से खा पी के इतना टाइट होके आते हैं, अंदर एक ड्रिंक की जगह छोड़ते हैं बस. ये मैंने बहुत सालों देखा है. पार्किंग में पी के आएंगे, so that they don't have to spend inside.
Yeah.
Right. So that is also a behavior of consumers. So that is a pattern that you would, I'm sure you would have also seen. Right? ये दूसरा revenue loss हुआ एक तरह से. F&B पे spend नहीं करते.
Correct.
तीसरा आपका आ गया merchandise. इंडिया में लोग इंडिया की जर्सी नहीं खरीदते मैच की, IPL की खरीद लेते हैं कभी कभार, बट उससे ज्यादा नहीं बिका.
Adidas came down to fact they were selling a jersey for $999. So
India
that they could kill the fake market. But उसमें revenue नहीं generate कर पा रहे होंगे ना, because to make a $999 you need a lot of R&D product भी बनाने में काफी लगता है.
बिल्कुल.
So you are absolutely right यार.
तो merchandise वहाँ मर गया आपका, लोग खरीदते नहीं है, आदत ही नहीं है लोगों खरीदने की. उनको वो 200-250 वाली कहीं से मिल जाती है, ज्यादातर लोग वही करते हैं.
Correct.
Most of the people do that.
And I truly feel that it takes time to build that kind of equity.
Yeah.
For people to recognize, oh अच्छा ठीक है मैं इसकी merch खरीद सकता हूँ.
बिल्कुल.
Which happens in the West but hasn't happened in India.
वो mania नहीं है यहाँ पे अभी.
कि यार ये festival की jersey मैं खरीद रहा हूँ and all of that.
और चौथा रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम आया स्पॉन्सर्स. भाई अब स्पॉन्सर्स हो गए स्मार्ट, ठीक है. 10 साल उनको देख लिया उन्होंने मार्केट में क्या चल रहा है, कहाँ पे. अब तो स्टॉक की भी वैल्यू लगने लगी है. पहले हम स्टॉक तो फ्री उठाते थे, उसके अलावा पैसा लगता था. तो अब ये तो आपने भी खुद ही देखा होगा. भाई मैं तेरे को 100 स्टैन स्मिथ दे रहा हूँ, इसकी वैल्यू ये है. करेक्ट. तो दैट इज अनदर थिंग. सो इट्स वेरी ट्रिकी टू बिल्ड एन आईपी इन इंडिया यार. मतलब हैट्स ऑफ अगेन, बहुत मुश्किल काम है, बट द प्लेजर दैट यू गेट ऑफ क्रिएटिंग अ प्लेटफॉर्म, आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाट गिव्स यू द किक टू गिव दैट प्लेटफॉर्म टू दैट ऑडियंस हु इज कमिंग देयर टू वॉच एंड एंजॉय इट. ऑनेस्ट ऑडियंस जो आती है, और एक ऑनेस्ट आर्टिस्ट को प्लेटफॉर्म मिलता है अपनी ऑडियंस के साथ कनेक्ट करने का.
यार आई थिंक दैट्स द ट्रू लव.
हाँ,
व्हेन आई फील ना यार ये आर्टिस्ट इसकी कोई फॉलोइंग नहीं है, बट ही इज सो पैशनेट अबाउट परफॉर्मिंग एट द फेस्टिवल that he's talking to me and he wants to come. And when the crowd loves him, and मतलब ठीक है crowd is coming for the festival, but at least the crowd is giving that love to him ना. जो वो मतलब दिल को ठंडक पहने वाली बात है कि यार ओ यार ये अच्छा लगा मुझे कि यार ये सब हुआ. I could introduce this artist to the audience and not the audience loves it. Obviously artist loves it, but I love it also that this is something that you can build in, because and you're absolutely right, talent की ना कमी नहीं है. I think the talent needs the right platform. And with brands is as such, also brands look at how much product they're able to sell and all of that. So brands are also very, they would think twice.
Number centric हो गए ना.
Absolutely. And they would think twice to enter into a festival which gives them the right returns.
Yeah.
Though I wouldn't say I'm lucky now, but the brands that helped me in the first edition and now the brands that have come in, at least these guys know the essence of what I'm trying to build.
Correct.
And that's very important. Somebody was asking me, are you happy with the festival? I said, happy is not the right word. Whether I believe. Somebody said, I like you, Rahul. And somebody said, I believe in you, Rahul. Believe means that you will stand with me whatever it comes. I can like you as a friend. हम दोनों मस्ती मार सकते हैं and we can enjoy. But believing, that trust is very important. And that's what I tell the brands, that you need to trust me. Not the fact that you like the festival.
Correct.
You believe in the festival, only then you'll be able to go along with me for the next 3-4 editions.
Bilkul.
So, and that's what I believe, that nowadays trust is more important within brands, within artists, within the community, that you need to trust each other. Only then you will be able to thrive in this business. Otherwise, so it's damn difficult.
Agreed. Sneakers का कल्चर ना बड़ा धीरे धीरे काफी इंटीग्रेट करता जा रहा है ना हमारी सोसाइटी के अंदर. Like people are spending a lot on the sneakers.
A lot.
People are going crazy on NFTs. Recently you saw all the brands.
Correct.
Nike से लेके Adidas Original से लेके everybody dropped their NFTs है ना. It became a rage during COVID. अब वो धीरे धीरे phase out भी हो रहा है. I want to understand 2 things from you. One is NFT का जो कल्चर है, स्नीकर्स स्पेसिफिकली जो लोगों ने खरीदे थे $1-2 मिलियन के स्नीकर्स की आर्ट खरीदी एक बंदे से.
Correct.
I was surprised bro, it got sold out. He sold worth 250 million or something कुछ बेचा था उस बंदे ने, right? It was crazy. It was a crazy drop, and then Nike acquired that company also.
Yeah. So I think COVID did that for artists.
खाली बैठे हुए ऐसा.
हाँ, मेरे को लगता है people realize how can we make digital art a big thing. And I think the whole essence of digital money, Bitcoin, paved the way for digital art. Because people are actually trading in Bitcoin as well, in terms of buying NFTs. And मुझे ये realize हुआ कि यार, and I was seeing, मैंने कहा यार Justin Bieber is buying the Bored Ape for 1.2-1.3 million. And I began to realize that maybe it's a phenomenon that is come out now and will exist in the future. But now it doesn't.
Now it doesn't. अब तो phase out हो गया.
Yeah, now it's dropped down to a value of anything that you've purchased, let's say at 10 rupees, now it's at 1.
Exactly.
The NFT, the whole digital art space has come down to, and kudos to people, those time पे बहुत पैसा बनता है. So मुझे लगता है कि किसी ने ये सोचा, and किसी ने कर दिया, and
और किसी का कटा दिया.
तो मुझे लगता है कि मेरे को बहुत मजा आया. मैंने obviously I didn't buy any of that, but I just loved how it operated. That somebody made it, somebody sold it at that value, and it was being auctioned. Auction पे लोग खरीद रहे हैं, and उसने बेच दिया, and he made money, and I was like, and for a consumer it was fantastic. कि हमने ये देखा, and obviously मतलब जिसने खरीदा उसकी कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. Maybe he or she thinks कि 10 साल बाद में कुछ हो जाएगा, but NFTs don't exist. मतलब see, sneaker culture will always exist.
But there's a physical product, right? Like you cannot match that with a GIF that you have on your phone, bro. Like it'll never, for me, never.
And interesting take on the sneakers, I'll tell you. And I was talking to a friend, and we were just discussing about health, weight, and everything. So I was telling him, यार मेरा पैंट का साइज बढ़ गया है, and jacket का साइज बढ़ गया है. I've gained a little weight. मैं कहा बस एक चीज का साइज नहीं बढ़ा यार, वो है जूते. So I was telling him that now my investment is more on sneakers just because of the fact कि ये नहीं बढ़ने वाला.
Correct.
Clothes का size see you will go change होता रहेगा.
Shoe size same रहेगा.
And I was telling him, and that's a very good insight of people buying into sneakers. There is no gender bias. There is no cultural bias. There is no race bias. Sneakers is one thing that connects everybody, and it's for everybody. You will see a 90-year-old grandfather also buying into cool sneakers, and you will see a 10-year-old kid also excited for sneakers. And that's amazing, right?
बिल्कुल.
And I was telling him, imagine any other product. There is no other product which is not at all biased about anything. Products are gender biased. Products are age biased. Everybody talks about target audience. ये sneakers का कोई audience ही नहीं है यार.
हर बंदा पहन सकता है.
हर बंदा पहन सकता है और हर बंदा enjoy कर सकता है. And the love for it always grows. I realize the true like this term इतनी आजकल use होती है sneakerhead. And I don't know why people think that हर कोई sneakerhead हो गया, but a true sneakerhead knows the value of the shoe that he's buying into. He knows what it means to him. And the phenomenon of Air Jordans, why people buy Air Jordan because of Michael Jordan phenomenon, is that's the reason that people buy into his sneakers, right? Because he was a phenomenon.
Bilkul, correct.
And basketball is a big construct when it comes to sneakers. And that's the true essence of what you're buying into is very important, right? And not what you're buying into, what we call as hype culture. You might see that, there's a shoe being launched, everybody's after it. But is it worth it to buy it at 25,000-30,000 rupees or 20,000 rupees? I mean, that's the true essence of a sneakerhead. A sneakerhead or a guy who knows sneakers would know, okay, this is... I don't want to buy into that. But brands have plugged it in a very beautiful way. Scarcity.
Limited drop का game है.
Yeah, it's the phenomenon and it's the game changer.
But is it in a way, Siddharth, मतलब अगर सोचो आप एक बंदा जो initial days of job में है, but he's a sneakerhead, he loves sneakers, or he's in the hype culture, for example. Brands are creating this hype around this new sneaker launch.
Correct.
His salary is say 30, 45,000, 50,000 के आसपास. वो नया जूता है 25-30,000 का है. वो क्रेडिट कार्ड पे डाल के अपने जूते खरीदता है.
करेक्ट, खरीदता है.
Is it of any value to him? बट मैंने देखा है मेरे कजन्स हैं जो पागल हो जाते हैं, लाख 1.5 लाख रुपए के जूते खरीदते हैं वो लोग, और फिर उनको सजा देते हैं ब्रो, अलमारी के अंदर पहनते भी नहीं है, और फिर they're like, we'll trade it later for this much.
Correct.
Maybe it's a way of them thinking about it, but I cannot think about that kind of an investment to keep it. I agree. तो ये एक thought perspective के बारे में थोड़ा बताओ मेरे को जरा, मेरे को समझ में नहीं आया कभी ये.
Yeah, so I'll talk about when I was in Adidas. Lucky for me, the easy phenomenon took place. And Kanye West changed the way how scarcity drop models, and then when he collaborated with ID, and I think he did that with Nike before he joined with ID, and very
तब नहीं चला था वो, I think.
It became a big thing, but I think Nike thought that he will become bigger than the brand.
Okay.
I think that's what they thought, and there are a lot of other things that happened. But when this came into existence, I think Adidas had this technology called Boost, which they integrated into the Yeezy.
Yeah.
And the design was owned by Kanye West, and he realized that people will buy into the product not just because of Boost, but because of the design, because of the brand, because of me. And I think from there on it took on in terms of people realizing, and this whole culture about people buying into, I think this is all scarcity, right?
Yeah.
अगर आप 100 जूते बेच रहे हो तो लेने वाले demand और supply का खेल है, as simple as that.
Because the moment Yeezys were available in mass supply, their sales dropped.
And also they realized कि यार at to a level how much will you sell?
Correct.
But they were still selling out in a day or two. Earlier it was madness, right? The earlier Yeezys you could sell at 10 times the price of what it launched. And people thought that this is a good business model, especially the kids.
तो हम लोग ये रीसेलिंग वाली बात कर रहे थे. आई थिंक ये बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग कॉन्वर्सेशन है ब्रो. मतलब मैं उस बंदे के हिसाब से बोल रहा हूँ जो आज अपने कॉलेज में है, क्योंकि अब तो ये ट्रेंड हो गया है. हर बंदे को प्रेशर है बल्कि कि यार तू स्नीकर्स कौन से पहन कर रहा है. करेक्ट. तो हाउ शुड वन नॉट फॉल इनटू दिस फैड. और ये जो रीसेल मार्केट का अभी जो अपकमिंग एक ट्रेंड शुरू हो गया है ना, जस्ट टू बाय स्नीकर्स फॉर एग्जांपल अ वैल्यू, they're taking money from their parents or taking loans on their credit cards and buying shoes because they think it's a business model for them to replicate and make money out of.
Absolutely.
As we were saying, easy money.
Yeah.
So this is not a great trend to set.
Yeah, I totally agree. I believe that on the fact that why do you want to buy into thing, I tell everyone here, at the end of the day, you can only wear one pair. Right?
Yeah.
मतलब तुम्हारे दो ही पैर हैं. ठीक है. अब ऐसा तो नहीं है कि तुम हर 3 घंटे बाद जूते चेंज करोगे. ठीक है. And the fact is that you can only keep 3 to 4 in rotation.
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Right. So I tell people, buy into the product. Me basically, because maybe I'm older now, I look for comfort. Right.
बिल्कुल.
For me, comfort comes first.
Absolutely.
Then comes design. ठीक है. And then comes the brand itself. ठीक है. And I see a lot of young people buying into a lot of sneakers, and I tell everybody कि यार देखो, this craze is only going to last at that amount of years, right? This is new to you. You're buying into sneakers. You think that peer pressure. I tell you, how much sneakers can you buy? How much sneakers will you hold? And how much sneakers can you wear? Yeah. And I tell people, buy into a sneaker which is comfortable and which you love the design. Let people recognize that piece, that you have that one sneaker that people recognize you with, right? My personality is what I wear, right? I told you, what you stand on is what you stand for, right?
Yeah.
I tell people, be recognized of the one brand or one sneaker that you love. Let people be the worry of the fact that, Rahul wears only those sneakers, and the history behind those sneakers are really good, or the design is really good, or they're really comfortable, right? Why do you have to have 10 pairs? And the second thing about hoarding, right? You think that you buy into the sneaker and sell it at a premium. Now the whole, just to give you an example of the Adidas Easy thing, Kanye West doesn't have a collaboration with Adidas about whatever comments he made, which is a good thing that Ari did, but Easys are not going to be there now. They're only limited supply, right? The only thing that what as a brand Nike is doing very well is they're taking out a lot of drops where it comes to the dunks, the mids and highs, what they're doing with the pandas and what they're doing. But you need to realize that there are enough limited stories that Nike has to tell, and there are enough limited sneakers that will come in the space, right? अब ऐसा तो है नहीं कि आप आकर 150 पे हैं तो और 100 आ जाएंगे. There is one needs to realize कि there is a threshold of everything.
बिल्कुल.
So I always believe that if you have the best 20 sneakers, stick to that, and then look for the ones that you need to really buy and wear.
Yeah.
I tell people that if you love sneaker and if you're a sneaker, if you're doing that, you will actually wear them. The idea is to wear.
Correct.
Right? The idea is to not buy and realize the fact, okay, this value will jump to 10. Well, people are doing it. People are happily doing it, and people realize that the premium is high. And there are a lot of reseller players in the market who are doing relatively well because of the fact that, they're doubling the price and they're tripling the price.
Correct.
And
hype culture है एक तरह से.
And how much will or how long will they last, that depends on totally the brand. If Nike says, for example, and I tell this to everyone, Nike says कि यार मैं ये dunk launch कर रहा हूँ, let's say the new Powerpuff जो 3 कलरवेज आए थे, नाइकी कहता है कि मैं ये 10,000 पीसेस कर रहा हूँ, तो फिर सब कोई पहनेगा ना, फिर तो ड्रॉप मॉडल एग्जिस्ट नहीं करेगा.
बिल्कुल.
What if Nike decides 1 साल तक वो क्वांटिटी में बनाएंगे स्नीकर्स? What if they decide कि they want to make sure that they limit the whole reselling business? What will the resellers do, यार?
Correct.
Suddenly
ये मिलीजुली सरकार है.
Correct, यार. So brand is at the top of everything, and the brand decides, and you don't understand कि they can make what they made before. दूसरी चीज मैं ये कहता हूँ, what stops them? You know that they have made certain things. Okay, let's not talk about collaborations of Off-White, and I'm talking about Nike owned sneakers. They made certain sneakers in the past. What stops them to make again?
Absolutely, yeah.
And the brand, I think the brand is also betting on the fact that they want people to wear. Yeah, I support Nike of doing that. They want people to actually wear their sneakers.
Yeah.
So I tell this to everyone. Yeah, you got to limit your pair. And though जब तक ये है hype चल रहा है, well, it's good for people who are reselling in the market. But whether it's going to die, whether it's going to survive, I think it has survived 5-6 years now, and it's survived in the US.
Yeah.
So more so it will survive, but again, the driving force is the brand.
बिल्कुल, correct.
Crocs did it amazingly. How Crocs became this phenomenon in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And collaborations really work. That's the thing that I really want to talk about is that. Okay, sneakers is one thing, but if you get a good collaborator to work on, like Michael Jordan is a very good collaborator with Air Jordan.
Yeah, correct.
And Nike does very well with Travis Scott. He's all the cactus jack.
I think Michael Jordan has been the highest selling shoe ever, right?
Yeah. Yeah, alone they are a business of 2.5 billion.
Correct.
And that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Imagine 2.5 billion ka business coming from one line of your sneaker collection, which is Jordan's.
Correct.
And I think phenomenal. I mean, and content plays a big role. The Last Dance documentary that got released in COVID in 2020, and it paved the way how new kids saw Michael Jordan, because they didn't know how Michael Jordan played, right?
Bilkul.
And it was an amazing idea of doing that documentary now, because now the kids know that how big a star he was. And then on that year, Nike did I think 120% rise in the sale of Air Jordan just because of documentary. So I mean that really played well, right? The content and how people see that he was the biggest basketball player and he's a true legend. Yeah. But collaboration works really well. Yeah, I think it's the era of collaborations.
And we saw a lot of collaborations happening from the high-end brands. Correct. With street brands. I think Supreme is one good example of it.
Very good example. They've done really well in the 90s and the early 2000s. Really done good as a brand. But look at what Dior did with Nike. Amazingly well. Prada did with Adidas. Balenciaga did with Adidas. Gucci did with Adidas. And I think, and that space now it's overlapped. Luxury market or luxury brands, street brands, and that emergence has become a big thing. Streetwear has become mainstream now.
Correct.
People don't see streetwear as the subculture. People see streetwear as the face of fashion nowadays. That's why North Face and Gucci did a big collaboration.
That was a good one, yes.
And all of these sports brands with luxury tires did fantastically well, and great collaborations. All of them worked really well.
And it excites the user also, ना, because कि कुछ नया उनका एक favorite high-end brand है जो उनके लिए मतलब premium है, और एक उनका affordable streetwear brand है, and they're doing something together. So it becomes more exciting for me as a consumer to buy. But इसके अंदर वही है कि never go out of your limit and reach. मेरा सिर्फ एक ही message है, simple सा, love the sneakers, wear them out, and then go to the next one. Have a collection of 3 or 4 pairs, ideally मतलब जो मैं recommend करता हूँ. And धीरे-धीरे in the past few years, I have moved from the COVID के बाद से especially, I have moved towards slow fashion. तो मेरा जब तक एक piece of t-shirt जैसे I'll have 20 pairs of
the succession phenomenon, quite luxury.
नहीं, मेरा जैसे 20 pairs of black t-shirt ले ली मैंने, 20 pairs of grey t-shirt ले ली, और सेम चीज की मैं 2-2 3-3 ले लेता हूँ फॉर एग्जांपल. तो वही जब तक wear and tear नहीं होता ना, मैं तब तक उसको छोड़ता नहीं हूँ.
Nice.
So that's my philosophy now.
Yeah, I think minimalism कोविड में लोगों को रियलाइज हो गया.
डिसीजन मेकिंग फटीग कम करता है आपकी. आज क्या पहनूं वो क्वेश्चन मेरे दिमाग में ज्यादा नहीं आता. जिम में काले कपड़े पहनने भाई कोई भी चूज कर ले.
करेक्ट.
सिमिलरली ज्यादातर काम पे मैं जब आता हूँ ऑफिस में तो ब्लैक पजामा पहन लिया, नीचे अपने नॉर्मल 3-4 स्नीकर्स रखे हो तो उनमें से कुछ पहन लिया, ऊपर काली टी शर्ट है.
यार आई थिंक आई नीड टू लर्न दिस यार.
बहुत फर्क पड़ता है ब्रो डिसीजन मेकिंग. जब आपको रोज सुबह ये नहीं देखना ना मैच करने कपड़े और ये वो 15-20 मिनट सेव होते हैं रोज के.
Agreed. Yeah, I need to learn this. I try to match. मेरे को मजा आता है. Okay, this is आज ट्यूसडे है तो आज ये कलर पहनना है या ये पहनना है, आज ये पहनना, कल डल पहना तो आज कुछ कर लेते हैं.
Yeah.
And but I need to learn this यार.
But each to his own यार. मतलब सबका अपना अपना पर्सनालिटी है.
But I agree with you कि for me more is less.
Yeah.
Or less is more.
Less is more.
Yeah, less is more. So मेरे को लगता है कि have unique pieces in your wardrobe, and I tell this to everyone that have unique pieces, the pieces that identify you as a person, that you believe in, and wear those unique pieces. यार nobody is going to ask you कि वो तूने तो ये actually Delhi phenomenon है कि ओ यार last time मैं मिला था तूने तो सेम ही पहन रखा था यार.
Let's address the elephant in the room.
यार ये सेम तो जूते पहने थे तूने, यार ये सेम तो शर्ट पहनी थी तूने.
रोज काले कपड़े पहन के आया.
रोज यार काले कपड़े क्यों पहन रहे हैं, क्या कोई और. एंड आई थिंक मोर सो मेरे को लगता है नॉर्थ फिनोमिनन है.
करेक्ट है.
पीपल आर मोर कूलर, मतलब दे मोर चिल अबाउट व्हाट दे वेयर इन बॉम्बे.
शो ऑफ बोलेंगे ना इसको बड़ी सीधी लैंग्वेज में. ये है बट वो एक इनर जर्नी है, वो बहुत लंबी कॉन्वर्सेशन है. इट्स मोर अबाउट स्पिरिचुअलिटी और वो सब चीजें आती हैं. भाई मेरे को नहीं फर्क पड़ता आउटर अपीयरेंस से और इससे उससे. खैर बड़ी ज्ञान वाली कॉन्वर्सेशन हो जाएंगी, इसमें नहीं जाएंगे. आज आपने कौन से स्नीकर्स पहने इनके बारे में बताओ मेरे को थोड़ा.
Yeah, so this is a collaboration of Adidas and Sean Weatherspoon. These are made of recycled material.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah. They were launched, I think, on the Earth Day, and Sean did it. And if you see all these patches work and everything, so beautiful collaboration called the Super Earth, and I love these of the fact that recycled se bane and the idea of green and earth and everything goes behind the sneaker. So and because I was in Adidas, I'm a big Adidas fan. Yeah. But yeah, I love these sneakers. They're very comfortable. These are the ZX families. Adidas ZX है, उसके ऊपर इन्होंने upper डाल रखा है. So very good, comfortable sneakers, and this is my go-to sneaker. Nice. Because I like color. Yeah. On my sneakers, so these are my go-to sneakers.
जैकेट भी चेंज करी, सिद्धार्थ ने पहले पहन के कुछ और आया था. यार ये कलर ज्यादा हो जाएगा.
यार बहुत ज्यादा कलर था उसमें, नियॉन और वो बहुत ज्यादा कलर.
मैं भी पहनता हूँ कलर.
कलरफुल गाय यार. I like color यार, मेरे को कलर अच्छा लगता है. But this jacket again is Jordan. Yeah. I saw this at a Jordan store in Tokyo, and I love Michael Jordan. I think he's the greatest sportsman that ever existed. Very true to the craft. So I got this jacket. मैंने कहा ये थोड़ा सा dark. हाँ नहीं सही. Black. इसमें थोड़ा ही pop है.
नहीं सही है. It's good. So, but it represents what clothes you wear. Always gives a representation of your personality, of your attitude towards life. For example, you wear colors, so that's how you reflect your personality as well, right?
I believe that if comfort. In everything, not just comfort of the quality, but are you comfortable of what you're wearing?
बिल्कुल ऐसा नहीं है पहन के बैठे हो आपको बैठा ही लग रहा है,
or if it's too much color you can't carry that. If you have any doubt of what you're wearing, then don't wear that.
Yeah.
And if you have if you want color in your life, and you are confident about wearing color, just wear color यार.
सोचो मत.
हाँ, and ये मत सोचो कि और कोई सोचेगा या नहीं सोचेगा. सबसे बड़ा, and when it comes to sneaker culture, subculture, fashion, सबसे बड़ा point of view when I tell people is don't think of what others will think of you.
बिल्कुल, absolutely. Like I shouldn't be cursing on this, but f that.
Just carry your vibe. Yeah, this is my vibe. This is how I want to dress myself. That's it, यार. कोई आगे बोलेगा ना, अरे ये क्या पहन लिया? अच्छा ठीक है यार, no problem. यार, I love what I'm wearing. Yeah. At the end of the day, when you got up in the morning, you looked in the mirror, you said to yourself,
you feel good about yourself.
बहुत, I'm looking cool.
This is me.
And at the end of the day, you loved what you were wearing, and that's about it. Yeah. Validation, and again, that's a separate conversation. People look for validation nowadays. Yeah, whole Instagram culture is become that you need validation of, oh yeah, मैंने अच्छा बनाया. how many likes I've got that
Correct,
I'm wearing
correct,
this.
correct, correct.
Don't do that. Yeah, you like this, you think you can carry it, just carry it. Yeah.
पहनो और आगे
ठीक है,
बढ़ो.
हाँ. And people will appreciate and love you for that. You will, if you see me wearing color, you will be okay with the fact, yeah, Siddharth wears color, yeah, it looks good on it,
और
yeah,
क्या?
yeah, and he's confident about it. So that's all that's important, yeah, and that's what the whole sneaker subculture is, right? Street culture is.
Yeah.
What you're proud of, yeah, just wear it, yeah. This is what I'm proud of, I'm wearing it, yeah.
Perfect. I think fantastic conversation यार सिद्धार्थ, मजा आ गया.
हाँ.
I think बहुत दिनों बाद हम लोग मिले भी, हमारी भी बातें अभी हो रही थी काफी सारी.
Correct.
But it was a fun conversation.
Yeah, I think it was amazing.
Yeah.
Because और हम 4 घंटे और बात कर सकते हैं. But
we'll take it off camera.
Correct. But हम 4 घंटे और but love talking to you every time. I think it was great. And thank you for this opportunity, यार.
अरे opportunity कुछ नहीं है.
मेरे skills brush हो गए अब कि इन terms of कैसे कैमरा के सामने बात करनी.
Thanks Siddharth for joining us on राहुल को समझ नहीं आता. और आज हमने काफी सारी चीजें समझी यार, स्नीकर कल्चर के बारे में, स्ट्रीट कल्चर के बारे में, about your habits and practices, your fashion sense, whatever. The most important thing that I think I'll drive out of today's conversation is comfort को पहले लेकर आओ boss.
Absolutely.
और ये जो दिखावे का कल्चर है ना, इससे थोड़ा सा पीछे रहो, because this is not going to help anybody, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, I truly believe that.
And I wish you all the best, brother.
Thank you so much.
I look forward to being there at the festival as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
Done. Thanks a lot, guys. See you soon.
Thank you.
This is me signing out, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Until then, remember, life is more fun when you're at the top of your game.